she sounded like she hasn't got any further instructions from her. It sounds like a bit of a, so basically I put to her that, you wanted to get to an agreement today. We understand her position about wanting weekend time. We want to put in place some weekend time. I tried to kind of delve into what the concerns were about the 3-4-4-3, explain that those are the days that you've got, the Monday and Tuesday would be your days. Those are the days that your mum would be available to help with taking care of the children. Your partner will be able to help as well. You can possibly get one of those days off. So I tried to see what the concerns were. I did point out that there's the same amount of handovers as there currently is, and that's just how it's going to have to be because Oscar can't do the arrangements that the other kids can. There's just going to have to be another handover. And she wasn't sure about that. She couldn't, really, it took me a while to get her to understand that it's the same amount. So she said that her client was concerned about changing the routine for the children, and I said, well, we're going to have to change the routine in some way, but if she wanted to make it a bit more of a smooth transition, I put to her that the other proposal, which was the same arrangement for week 1, Friday to Monday, and in the other week, the Wednesday to Saturday morning, she said, don't think she will change from the current arrangements. So her client's position is firmly that because you haven't been able to agree to a change today, the current arrangement stands.
Yep. As long as it stands, that's fine.
She has confirmed that. Her client's obviously disappointed about not being able to get weekend time, but she said her client's position was that if she couldn't have every 4th weekend, then the current arrangement stands. I don't really understand why that would be a thing.
It's just her way.
Yeah. So she said she wants to keep the current arrangement and come back in November or December for another conference and try and discuss things again then.
Okay.
I don't really know if that's gonna, nothing will have changed. The only thing that would have changed is that the kids will be well and truly used to the current arrangements, having every weekend with you. She's not going to get any weekend time until November or December.
And it's already been like that for a year, so...
Yeah. So, but I tried. So she's not willing to move for the moment. I did say, when I said that we had thought this through and that the Monday and Tuesday your mum was available, your partner's available, you can get a day off. She said her client, her position was that she doesn't want your mum
I was waiting
to be taking care of the kids, and that if you're not available, if you have to work, then she should be taking care of the kids.
Yeah, well that's understandable, so I'll take the days off. It's because once again my mum's trying to speak up for me, and so obviously that's causing dramas with Zara. Where I'm not allowed to take the kids to Zara as my mum is. It's...
So I pointed out to her as well that, every parent has the right to make decisions about who's going to care for the kids. The, paternal grandmother is not unusual, is not...
and my mum's a midwife.
And, you could have been putting them into childcare that day.
Yeah.
You would have the right to do that as well.
Yeah.
But, that she clearly had her client's instructions, didn't really want to do too much in the way of trying to get further instructions from her. But what I did say was, would she be willing to sign a parenting plan to that effect, to say the current arrangement stands, we come back in November or December, arrange another conference to to reassess the matter.
Yep.
She said she wasn't sure, and she would have to get further instructions about it. I was like, fine, go and get further instructions. Let me know if we can put it in writing, because it is agreed. Essentially, that's what we've agreed until...
Yeah, well, and that's my biggest concern, is now she's going to try and stop me again.
And I tried to put that to her in the nicest way of like, you were concerned that things were being, chopping and changing a little bit, or anyway. So she's going to get instructions about that. The schooling, I said, we don't want that to be a last minute decision that we have to make in November, December.
Yeah. Let's
figure it out now. They're going to Pimpala Kindy, so your proposal is Pimpala Primary School. She didn't know. I don't think her client had said anything about that, so
no,
she's going to go and get instructions about that as well.
Okay.
She told me that, so I reiterated those two things. Can it be in writing, and can we get the school figured out?
Yep, awesome.
She said she would put that to me in writing, try and get a response to me later today.
Yep.
So I'll let you know what happens with that, because I've said to her, like, you've got our parenting plan. I can amend it for that. That's the current arrangement until later this year. If it's going to be in writing, and I did say, if her proposal is just to restrict your time to alternate weekends, that's not agreed, and that you have spoken to me about, as a last resort, you would consider making an application.
Yep, awesome, thank you.
And we want to avoid doing that. So we'll see what they come back with. But I guess if nothing happens, if she won't put anything in writing, then, the worst case is just that the current arrangement continues, and if she is going to do any funny business like she was doing before of threatening to cutting off your time, then let us know, and we'll have to just get right onto it, either giving her a warning or just issuing proceedings.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about issuing proceedings, I suppose, would be that she would have to abide by court orders. They would probably send us to another conference anyway.
Yeah, which technically this is the second one that I've been to, just to try and get my original stuff.
Yeah. But if agreement isn't reached at the conference, then the court does other things to try and figure out, what are the issues, how we solve them.
Yep.
That it's very rare that it'll go to trial, so the court will probably try and do everything they can to not let it go to trial.
Yeah.
Because they don't want that either. So, I guess just keep me posted for the time being. Keep on the same arrangements. Try and keep things, amicable in your communications with her. I wouldn't necessarily bring up, what was said today, the fact that she hasn't, just try and, I understand, like, it's been a frustrating process and we haven't got anywhere, but you need to kind of put that aside, because anything that you put in writing to her is evidence.
Yep.
And if we went to court, then she might just, she would say that it's harassment or whatever, and that and also everything that we've discussed today is confidential anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you shouldn't be bringing it up outside of this. It's all part of, without prejudice communications, which means that you can't bring it up to like against someone later on.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So just keep it calm. Just limit it to what it needs to be, and just keep on going.
Yep. So if I just message you Tuesday, Wednesday, and just say see you Friday at 4.
Yeah.
Then use your message.
Yeah.
Leave
That
it
should
at
be
that.
fine. And if she gives any problems, just let us know.
Yep.
We'll have to just figure out what to do about it. Hopefully Ms. Reed is right and that there's no intention to just change it anyway.
Yeah.
But if she does we'll deal with it. And the best thing that we can do is get in quickly with the court, because, you know, if we say it's just happened, we had this arrangement for a year and it's just been changed, and, you know, so it's best to get in quickly for that reason. So yeah, we'll just keep on going, and I'll let you know once I get a response from Claire. Yeah. So I'm sorry we couldn't get a better outcome. It's pretty frustrating. I'm very frustrated.
Yes. I'm just annoyed that it's been now a year and a half since the last mediation, and I'm literally back at square one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess the good thing is, again, you're not necessarily at square one. You're not trying to fight your way to more time, because then your only option would be to go to court. But at this point, you've got a good amount of time. It's just there's a bit of a standoff happening with how things are going to go next year. And she wants more weekend time, so I'm surprised that she wasn't more willing to, you know.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Yeah, so anyway.
Thank you for that anyway.
Alright. Well, yeah, I'll be in touch as soon as I hear from her.
Yeah.
And let me know if there's any issues, and otherwise, see how it goes.
Alright. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your time.
But I think that's a positive thing, okay? That it's happening already, and it happened without us. So, but for the purposes of today, we don't have any agreement. The only thing would be if you and your solicitor said to me, you would be interested in trying to continue the talking.
Yep.
I'm happy to record that for the purposes of legal aid, but I'm not going to formally book it in for a review, because I don't really think it's a review. I don't really think a review is warranted unless you both got to a situation in a few months where you said, hey, we do need to talk about this. We can't talk direct. We can't talk face to face. These are issues we're going to have to talk again. And the big one for that would be when you need to agree school. Because if you haven't agreed school, you're going to have to talk about it at some stage in the next few months.
Okay. So if we wanted to continue on and speak with just the solicitors, did you say that gets recorded, or do you mean you record that on your?
No, Karen, I'm not. I don't have any bearing or control over the sensible stuff which goes on between you and Claire to put proposals and exchange proposals and make suggestions.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is the formal requirement for both of you that you've met your obligations. And all I could do is, if you wanted me to do so, well, no, I'll put it the other way. I will record for the purposes of the FDR unit that there may be a need for a further meeting in November, December to discuss those issues which can't be avoided, such as where Flynn goes to school in February 21. So I will leave that door open. It just makes it easier in the event that either you or the other party applied for funding for an FDR conference. Okay. So I leave that door open. But apart from that, unless you said to me, I just don't think this warrants a review, because the current arrangement is something that the parties have already sorted out between them. I would be hopeful that with the goodwill that is already there, there'll be some continuation. But I think there's got to be some flexibility with the weekend stuff. It's not a long-term arrangement, and nor should it be. Okay. No worries. Well, I'll see if I can get a hold of Claire and speak to her directly, see if anything else can happen. Otherwise, thanks for your help. Yeah, I think I'll probably find that she'll have gone off and raced off to do something. She's talking to her client as I left her. But you might want to, sensibly, if you've got your client's proposals, you might want to put something else to her in a formal way, so that you've got that in a letter. And that way it's out there that you've tried again, another option, and can use that if you ended up. But I mean, I'm very, I always hesitate to say this, but I would be very optimistic that there was no intention to suddenly pull the rug out from your client and say, well, you didn't agree with me today, therefore it's just not happening. But I do say to you, Nathan, that Not whilst I don't think that mums should do that, of course I've got no control over it. And just because people sign something or agree something today doesn't mean that they change their mind later either. So that's not necessarily a guarantee. But one thing I do raise with you is that it's not a long-term proposal for the children to be spending 3 nights of every week with you, with those 3 nights being Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Just not long-term.
Yeah.
So sometimes what you're better off doing is trying to get something into place now where you change those nights already. So instead of making it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, why aren't you looking at a weeknight?
I guess that's what we were trying to do with our proposal, but yeah, not agreed. That's fine.
Yeah, but and maybe it's, you know, you look to a longer term plan as to how you can do it. And you know what some people do is 1 week it's just the Wednesday night, and then the other week, because that way you have something it's more easier to build on once kids get to school. That's what you're trying to do, is you put something in place that becomes a more natural progression, so that unfortunately at the moment it's a big change, because it will have to be a big change from what it currently is as soon as Flynn starts school. And it really, because of the older siblings, it really shouldn't be in place now. Ideally, it should be something else.
Okay.
So, but you know, you just have to keep doing what you're doing and hope that, as I said, I did not get any impression from Mum that she intended to pull the rug out from Dad's feet and say, well, therefore it's all off. It's not all off. That's the continued arrangement is hopefully the continued arrangement that has been set up with the goodwill of both of the parents.
Yeah.
Just not fixed in any long-term plans.
Okay.
So thank you very much for your help today, Karen, and for all of your paperwork. It was very, very helpful. And thank you, Nathan, for your participation today. And, you know, these are very frustrating times, but as you've already recognised, you have to do this more often because your children are little and you'll have lots of changes that you'll be adapting to. So you may end up doing a few more of these across the years.
Yep.
So thank you very much for your time, and I'll end the conference now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nathan, as well. Thank you, Karen. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So, that's a bit disappointing. We couldn't come to any agreement, but current arrangement stands.
Well, as long as it does stand.
If she makes any further threats to cut off your time, let me know. And the first thing that you would want to do is file, because
this weekend it's going to happen.
Okay.
She's going to say no, we're going to fortnightly.
Yeah.
If she doesn't, I'll be very surprised.
Okay. I'm just going to check. I think this room is booked with another solicitor. I don't know, someone else has this room booked. I would really like to call the solicitor, Claire, on the other side and see if, you know, because there's not a lot of time. She's essentially wasted a lot of our time today, because not her fault, but she's had other things come up. You know, we made a proposal. It didn't really make any sense that, that's too many handovers. That's exactly the number of handovers you're having currently. So
the whole thing was
maybe we could come up with some other counter proposal if for some reason this is too confusing for her or whatever. Maybe it could be, you know, Friday through to Sunday as you've been having, and then, you know, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday or something or it would have to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday or something in the next week.
It would have to be Tuesday to Thursday or something. So therefore it doesn't interrupt, so it's not a 6-day.
Yeah. The main thing that I would want to put to her is that we had thought this through, that it was a reasonable proposal, and if she's not going to agree to it,
I'm running out of ideas. I've been trying.
Then we want to come to some agreement. We want to get something in writing now,
Yeah, this whole day was a waste.
Well, not necessarily. It is a little bit. We didn't get what we wanted, but you know, on the other hand, we know what the issues are now. We know their position. So I would like to see if she's available.
No.
I might just put this back. If they do need this room, I'll see if the other room's available.
Oh, that's...
Just hold tight for a second.